So, welcome everyone to Carving a New Path. My name is Andrea Hyland, and I host this show. I am the founder of Heal My Voice and the Incubator, an annual co working space for women creatives. And I'm also an ancestral lineage healing practitioner. The link to my website is in the show page description, along with all the social media links and website of my guest today. Before I introduce my guest and the topic, I just want to say for anyone who's here for the first time, this podcast began in March 2020 in response to the rapid change that people were experiencing. And the conversations and guests on this podcast have all listened to their inner voice, released things from the past, and birthed new ways of being in the world. So we discuss a variety of topics, but it all comes down to ideas that you can use to carve a new path for yourself. Okay, so my guest today is Kathryn Yarborough, and the topic is why say yes to speaking on a summit. And I just want to give you a few ideas, some context for what we're going to talk about. We're going to hear from Kathryn, who has been a solopreneur for 24 years and who started hosting and producing summits 2 years ago. So she's going to share some insider secrets to speaking on a summit, whether you're an experienced client attracting speaker on your journey of becoming a better one, or if you're just starting out. So just think of this throughout the conversation. Have you considered speaking on a summit, but hesitated to apply because either you weren't sure it was worth your time or you weren't sure if you were ready? So think about those questions as before we begin our conversation, I just want to read a few words to actually introduce Kathryn, and then we're going to dive into this rich topic. So Kathryn Yarborough is the founder of Speakers with Heart. She produces online summits that give women entrepreneurs opportunities to collaborate, to share their messages so that they reach larger audiences, attract clients, and grow businesses they love. Okay, so now that I've got all this intro out of the way, Kathryn, welcome.
Hello, hello, Andrea.
I was thinking this morning that I met you in the On Purpose Woman community. It was about 18 years ago now. I did the math before I got. And just for the listeners, I'm going to say I've had so much fun playing with Kathryn in so many different ways. We did a blog talk radio show years ago called Living on the Edge. We've really had fun playing together. So I'm just really excited to talk with her about summits, which, like I said, she's been doing for about 2 years now. And it's a new way that she is supporting voices in the world. So, okay. So, Kathryn, let's just dive into why did you start hosting summits? So something had to come up 2 years ago, or maybe before that got this idea going. So why did you start hosting summits?
Andrea, prior to 2 years ago, for the decade before, I had guested on summits, usually a handful every year. So I'm no stranger to these online summits where, for people, if you haven't been on one or attended one, typically these days they're on Zoom, sometimes they're recorded, and often if it's on Zoom, it's speaker after speaker. And over the decades and longer now that I have guested on summits, some are good and some are not so good. Sometimes some of the speakers are really good, and often some of the speakers are not as good. So I never wanted to host a summit. Never. Because I mean, how do you bring up people to your stage if they may not be so good? And then there's all the back end stuff, and it just sounded like a whole lot of work for not anything that I was interested in. 2 years ago, it was the beginning of, what was that, 2023. I got the divine inspiration as I was working on my goals to grow my email list. It was like, that's the thing to do for this year. And I was invited to speak on another summit, which I said yes to. And it was this new model of a summit where the host and the speaker are on the stage at the same time. All the speakers give a free gift and a VIP gift, and the speakers pay to be on the summit, but they can get that money back if they enroll enough participants, which encourages all the speakers to enroll participants to come, which makes sense to me because otherwise, a lot of times the speakers, and I mean participants, I mean the speakers, a lot of times the speakers don't promote, and you don't have as many people as you'd like to have on a summit. So there's challenges to hosting summits. Anyhow, I got on that summit. I thought it was a great model. And then I got in my email box an email about a free training on how to host summits in this new model, this new way of doing it. Because prior to that, Andrea, a lot of the summits, a majority of them said, the only way you can speak on my summit is if you have an email list of $5,000 or more, $5,000, 5,000 or more contacts. And that rules out a lot of the people who I care about, the women, coaches, healers, and on purpose solopreneurs, who sometimes don't even have a list of 100 contacts. Some of them don't even have email lists yet. So anyhow, this is a bit of a story, but I think it's important because I really didn't want to host summits. So for me to love hosting summits, to go from that to this, it seems important. Anyway, I did the training. I learned about this new model and how to think about it. And it was like light bulbs went off. So I hosted my first summit in May of 2023, and I discovered that I loved hosting it. And I love this new model, and it works. It's a win-win-win model where, yeah, it's a lot of work on my part, but I make a little bit of money, and the speakers get seen and heard by more people than they could on their own, and we all get to collaborate. And the way I run my summits is I'm really big on creating community between the speakers. And so there's this whole other level of experience that my speakers have and I have. And it turns out that it's just a lot of fun for me. That's one part of it. Would you like to hear the other part of why I'm continuing to host summits?
I would, and before you say that, I want to just say one thing to the listeners. Notice that Kathryn had set aside some time to look at her goals for the year. And all of us, I mean, it's good to do it quarterly or do it at different times. You know, some people pick the solstice to do it, but she had a designated time. She sat down, she looked at that, and up until that point, she really did not want to do summits. But this inspiration came to her, and since we're always talking about what it looks like when things start leaving your life or there's room for something else to come in, this is a perfect example of how she was just sharing that. And so then she took steps to explore that as a possibility. Like, what would that look like? And then the training came up and different ways. So I like to, I just want the listeners to think about that. Like when things in your own life came in a way that was a new inspiration or a new idea, and how step by step it came into being. Okay, so tell us part two, or if you wanted to respond to that in any way, feel free.
No, I don't need to respond. I just need to make sure that I communicated this piece, which I didn't say before. For those of you who don't know, it's been said by lots of people that summits are a really great way to grow your email list. Okay, so that was the reason, that was the connecting piece that I didn't say before.
Sure.
And if you didn't know that, that's important to understand. And by the way, I have grown my email list, but not by that much. It's been interesting. So I don't know that they're the best way to grow an email list, unless, of course, you get a bunch of people who have lists of 5,000 contacts or more, and they actually send out the emails. Then I think you can do it, but not the way that I do it. It's growing incrementally. Anyway, back to my second reason. So the other thing that happened to me over the last several years is I got the bug to speak. I wanted to speak. I wanted to get on stages. Prior to 2020, I'm like, I want to get out there into the world. And I created this event and I was crossing the state of Florida. That was my vision. And then COVID hit. But in the meantime, I discovered that a lot of speaking opportunities that are client attracting speaking opportunities versus getting paid. So if you want to get paid by corporate, great. Go off and get paid by corporate. But if you want to attract clients, a lot of opportunities are not free. And this is what I was seeing. I was seeing that I would have to pay 1,000 or 2,000 or $5,000 to speak on other people's stages. And it just broke my heart. I mean, I don't set up my business to make that kind of money, or I didn't in the past. It may change in the future. I'm open to change. But I know a lot of my clients are not set up to be paying out $5,000 for every speaking opportunity. So the other reason why I'm excited about doing summits and hosting summits is I absolutely love women coaches, healers, and on-purpose solopreneurs. I want us to be able to get our messages out. So don't hold back. One of the things that I want to convey right now is that if you're all interested in speaking on a summit, I do have a series of summits coming up. We'll talk more about it later. But the beauty of this model that I discovered, where I'm there and the speaker is there, is it enables me to make sure the energy stays in a good place so that if a speaker is newer or less experienced, then it's still going to be a good experience for the audience members. And I don't have to be concerned about that. And if it's an experienced speaker who knows what they're doing and can really engage the audience, I'm there and it just magnifies how great it is. So no matter what, whether you're experienced, developing your skills as a speaker, or a experienced speaker, this kind of summit is a great opportunity for you and can move you forward and grow your business. And that's why I'm doing what I do.
I love that. And I want to let's see. I've got something I wanted to share with the audience, but I'm trying to think. You know what? Before I share that, I just want to ask you that what are you noticing that speakers are saying about what they get out of speaking at summits? And then I want to share something after that. So yeah, what have people been saying to you?
So there's a range of things that they've said to me, depending on the person. Some people grow their email list. So with the summits that I host, the speakers get to provide a free gift and a VIP gift. Both of those are ways to grow your email list. So did I say grow your gift? Grow their email list. Sometimes the words that come out of
That's
my mouth
okay.
just fix me. Like, what's going on with this brain up here? Anyhow, so I have heard from some of my speakers that they've grown their email list by 30 or more contacts, which is fantastic. Some it's 5 to 10. So that's up until now. My intention is to keep growing the number of people who come to my events and who get the VIP bundles. So my hope is that those numbers will keep going up. But part of that has to do with the speaker herself, how prepared she is, how aligned their gift is with what they're speaking about, those sorts of things. And I've also heard, I just heard recently from a summit speaker that she sold two long-term, she attracted two long-term clients. These are private clients who are paying her for a series of months of work with her. So she's like, I'm ready to speak again on one of your summits. And she just signed up. So that was great. And I do have featured speaker spots, and not everybody's ready for that. But for those people who are, you can sell from the stage. And I know that one of my featured speakers sold a couple of $2,500 programs. She needed to have conversations with the people afterwards, but still it was from that speaking opportunity. So those are like the external things that happen for my speakers, but I've also heard from so many of my speakers appreciation for the opportunity to speak because they got to share their message. And it's such a good feeling when you have a message on your heart or in your mind, something that you want to let other people know about and get it across. And especially if it's client attracting, we need to share these messages. We need to let people know, what we feel, what we want other people to get. And then if an ideal client is there in the room, hopefully they sign up for your free gift or your VIP gift and then decide just to work with you. And I want to hear that from all of my speakers if that's what they want. So I love that.
I love that too. And I have something I want to share. And it's funny because in some ways it's the first time I'm speaking some of this out loud. And so it feels a little bit all over the place. I had told Kathryn as we were getting on that that I woke up at midnight and I was dreaming about our conversation today. And one of the things that I was saying in the dream on the show, and let's see if I can, is that we're at this time of great change in the world. We can see it happening in the United States. And if you follow what's happening in a lot of different places in the world, you could call it government structures, you could call it healthcare, education, there's a lot of change that's going on in the world. And when I was having this conversation in the dream, I was saying something about how the more we can speak our messages into the world, the more we can carve and build the world that we want to live in. And
I
so,
love that. I love that, Andrea. Oh
yeah,
my gosh. I want you to like say that again. Say it off the
I
rooftops.
know
Like,
I may have to listen to the recording and copy it down because it's coming through me and my whole body is like vibrating from this message. So I want the listeners to think about what is the message that you want to get out into the world and then find the places to do that. And I'm not talking about posting something on Facebook where you get into arguments with people. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, if you can post it on Facebook or social media someplace and then walk away and just not even engage with whatever energy, like to stand in your message of what you want to put into the world, to deliver it from your heart and to let that be enough, then go for it. But a summit is one of the ways to do it. And when I think back to when I started Heal My Voice in 2011, and for a few years, I really had a lot of opportunities to speak in places. And all that I cared about at that point was to put the message out that our voice matters and that we can heal our voices. And I had a 9-month program. Once there were 20 women in the program, I wasn't really promoting anything. You know what I mean? So it was like I just wanted to speak. I wasn't really even looking to grow my list. I just had this passion and wanted a place for women to write a story, heal something in their lives, reclaim that power, and step into greater leadership in all areas of their lives. So when I think about a summit, like that's one of the reasons. And I've seen some women who I've known for years who've been on your summits who were really, you could say they had a career change or they had a new message they wanted to put out into the world. Maybe they were always into health, but now they were going to create a business around health and they wanted to speak this. They didn't really have a lot of programs built that people could come in. They didn't have the $2,500 coaching program, whatever. So I want to like show the range of people that if you are someone who has um, programs and you have a way for people to connect with you afterwards, that this, the summit is a good place. But there's also a reason to just get your message out into the world and to take a chance with that. And then it gives you a time to create something free to give to people and to create the VIP gift to give to people. So
Yes.
it can
Yes,
be a beginning. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I can't tell you how many of my speakers, like at least a third and maybe more, have created their VIP gift for sure after signing up to speak on one of my summits. And so many of them have said, "Thank you, Kathryn, for this opportunity so I could get these pieces set up." Because for them, a lot of them, they had already been thinking about creating that online course or creating that free gift. And so it's a little accountability nudge if you've got that kind of thing going on. So absolutely, you will be grateful. Well, most people are grateful. I'm not going to say you. Most, I don't know about you, whoever is listening. Most people are grateful for the opportunity to do that if
Yeah,
it's not already
I'm
set up.
always grateful for opportunities with you, Kathryn. So, yes.
Back at you.
So, I have another question I'm going to ask, but before I ask this question, I'm actually going to answer it. And then I'm going to ask it. So, something that stopped me from applying to speak on the summit was that the timing just hadn't been right for me. And for the 2 years that Kathryn's been doing this, every time she's made an announcement that there was one coming up, I'd look and I'd be like, oh, that's the month that I'm helping my daughter, my grandchild is about to be born, whatever. There were things that were going on, or I had a big project going on or something. So just recently, I can't remember when you first put the link out. I don't know. Was it in January? Was it just a few weeks ago? Time is so weird this year. Okay.
Yep.
So, as I do, when Kathryn sends an email, I look to see and I said, oh, she's doing a new summit. And it was like, oh my gosh, she's not just doing one summit, she's doing 9 summits during the month of May, which is the perfect month for me to be doing a summit. So I went through the list and I thought about things that I've been creating or what I was ready to put out into the world. And that this time, I also already have a free gift and a VIP gift. Like I already had things that I had created because I've been working for the last year and a half on creating some things. So the timing of the summit, because here's the thing, everyone, I want anyone who's feeling a spark to sign up to be in the summit. I want to just say that out there because I feel like if you've got a message you want to get out in the world, or there's something that ties in with your business, a reason to do it, then now is the time to do it. And there's these 9, we'll go into the details around that, but I'll just tell you there's 9 different summits that she's doing all in the month of May. And I think it's an exciting time to really see what it's like to have a collaboration where everyone's putting that out into the world. And now I feel like there was something else I was going to say about that, and it just slipped my mind what that piece was. Um, but I think that one of the things I got so excited about was the way that you've designed it for the support calls on getting to know each other a little bit, getting to the information about how to get the word out to people because, oh, I know what it was. It's that I didn't say yes before because to me, if I'm going to, when I speak on the summit, and my date is May 18th, I'm going to be there the whole day. And the other summits, I couldn't commit to that. And so, like I said, I want you all to sign up, and it is a commitment. So it's a commitment to yourself. It is a commitment to the people who are speaking that day. And that's one of the beautiful things about what it looks like to be in collaboration. And I love the way you've designed this year, Kathryn, because it means that I get to show up for all the women all month of May. And maybe I can't stay all day, but you've got a way to purchase the speakers, the recordings, and all of that. But I know I've already put it in my calendar to show up, to be there, to cheer other women on in speaking their message. So it feels like that is powerful. If you feel hopeless or helpless in your life right now, come and be a part of something where you actually get to cheer on messages that are going to rebuild and build a new world.
Mm,
Okay, that's
mm,
my
mm.
that's my soapbox on answering the question. So, what was the question I was going to ask her? So, I was going to ask Kathryn the question, in your experience, what has stopped people from applying to speak on a summit, which may be totally different than what mine has been? Yeah, so what are you noticing? Like, what stops people from speaking?
Well, first of all, what a fun answer from you. And I so appreciate that you have said yes to speaking on, I believe it's the Manifesting Your Desires Summit, which is one of the 9 summits in the Loving Life Summit series that is happening in May. And I love how you've gotten your mind around this whole summit series experience. The first time I'm seeing something like this, and it was a divine inspiration to do 9. They're going to be, in quotes, half-day summits up to 5 hours, so which enables people, participants, speakers, and attendees to be able to more likely stay for the whole thing for that particular theme. So there are 9 different themes, as Andrea was talking about. And so thank you for saying yes. I'm so glad it fit your schedule. And I think a lot of times it is about scheduling, but there are also other reasons why some people don't apply to speak on a summit. I know for myself, over the years, I've seen some speaking opportunities, summit speaking opportunities, and they look intimidating to me. I feel like either I might get rejected. I do say it's an application interview. For the most part, I'm screening to make sure it's a good fit. I'm not going to screen because of lack of experience. So I just want to make sure that the summit is that particular summit is right for you, and or you're ready on some level, or speaking on summits is the right thing for you. I don't want you to waste your time or money. So, but for me, I see these opportunities and they feel like, oh, they only want these people who are like way better than I am, or way more experienced, or way more successful, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's not me. And so I don't want to create that kind of a summit application experience. I hope I don't. Um, for other people, I recently was at an in-person event. I got to network and actually sat by next to a woman, and we were being asked to brainstorm with that person what might have people stop from saying yes to your offer. So she was able to say, fear. And I really hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Fear of not being ready, fear of not being good enough, which is similar to my, concern of feeling intimidated. And I just want to say we need to get our messages out. It's so helpful, as Andrea's been saying for years, and in this particular podcast. And so let's start. if you're new. If you're experienced, great, come on over. And if you're new, get started. And this is a really safe way to get started. It's what I have to say. So and then lastly, some people aren't ready. They see that they need a free gift or a VIP gift and they go, oh, I don't have that, which is, you're going to have to create them, but we'll talk. So if you're not ready, if you feel uncertain, then schedule an application interview and let's have a conversation and I can brainstorm with you about those ideas. And lastly, I just want to say this morning, right before we're recording this podcast, I got a message, a DM on Facebook from someone who's looking at one of the summits, and she's wrote, well, I need to sleep on it. So go check out the information and sleep on it. Check in. Ask your pendulum if you use it. Do pros and cons. Do something. Check in. If it feels right, let's talk. So that's why I think people have stopped. But if anybody else has another reason why you haven't applied, I think there's also some things about, do summits really work? Are they really helpful? There's that sort of thing. And we're gonna speak to that in just a minute, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the one thing I want to say is that what I did when I saw that the dates, like I looked at my calendar and I was like, yes, I can show up for this. Yes, this is a time where I can not only be at the summit, but really, um, feel like I'm prepared and I've got everything that I can do all of those things. And then, I'm working with a couple of coaches this year, and I always have support in my life that sometimes it's with a coach, sometimes it's with a group of friends who can support a process that I'm in with my business or my life. And this time I went to my coach and I just said, okay, let's look at all these things that I'm doing this year and where my message is really potent for me right now. And she helped me see, well, I was going in one direction. She actually showed me how this other thing was really connected to everything that I was doing. So just having someone who can listen to you and all of that. And so then when I met with Kathryn, and also I put an appointment on my calendar to meet with Kathryn. Then I met with my coach. Then I had a conversation with Kathryn and kind of told her what I was thinking. And then she tweaked a little bit of it. And, so it's a process of like just if you feel like it's something you're interested in, take a chance to set up a time to talk about it because you don't have to have it all figured out that beforehand. So I just want to say that. And then, yeah, so there was something else we were going to talk about, and now I'm forgetting what that was.
So
Yeah, what do you
I
want to talk about? What else?
So I want to
Here.
summarize because
Okay,
the whole
great.
purpose of this podcast was to talk about why say yes to speak on a summit, right?
Yes, so you take it away. You fill in the gaps or do the
Okay.
summary. Yeah.
So one of the biggest reasons we've pointed to, and Andrea really shared from her heart about, is to share your message because your wisdom is important and it feels so good to touch more people. So speak on a summit, whether it's mine or another one, speak wherever you can, speak up and touch more people. But also, what's great about speaking on a summit is you do have the opportunity to appear as an expert, to talk about what matters from your business perspective that your ideal clients would be interested. So you could attract clients. So if you want to attract clients, I will support you in moving forward in that direction. And you get to grow your email list. So if someone is ready now, they'll get on your email list. You'll send them some follow-up emails. They're going to take that next step with you. If they're not ready now, if you send emails so they stay connected with you and you stay top of mind when they're ready, they're going to take that next step. It happens to me all the time. So it's really, really effective and useful for growing your business. I already shared earlier what some of my speakers have said have happened for them.
So, I feel like we've done it. We've given the why say yes. And I just encourage the listener to, maybe you'll go back and like take some notes, make some points about this if something stirred it in you. And in the show page description here, I have the link for the Loving Life Summit series and also some other links to connect with Kathryn, connect with a group that she has on Facebook and her website and things like that. So check that out. Click on those links and go see what resonates with you. So I'm wondering, just to wrap up, Kathryn, because, well, first of all, I'm going to let everyone know we're going to do a second show where we're going to talk about, do you have the title?
I do. It is 5 steps to be summit ready.
Yes. So we're going to do that in 2 weeks. So just to let everyone know that's coming. But right now, you may want to go to the info page that shows, I was going to start listing off all the different topics and everything, because there's a wide variety, 9 different topics, themes. And, but I encourage you, just click on it, go on over there and see if something jumps out at you. Anything that you want to say to kind of wrap up the show or about the summit?
Yes. Yeah, so if you do go over and you apply to speak, let me know that you heard us here and that you came from Andrea's world. I would love to know that. And thanks for listening. This was really fun. And thank you, Andrea, for this opportunity. I love talking with you, my friend.
I do too. And Kathryn, thanks for the conversation. I'm really excited about I've been excited about all your summits, so I'll just say that. But I'm excited to be putting my message out into the world in one of your summits and to cheer on the other people who are there speaking. And I see it as this is the world we are creating. So come to be a part of the summit, come and speak, come and listen, and cheer each other on. So let's focus. It's a place to focus our attention, and uplift the world during this time of change. Um, so that's it for now. Thank you, listeners. And if there's anything you want to put in the comments, something that touched you, something that's inspiring you in your world, I'd love to read your comments. All right, Kathryn, I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll have the next conversation. All right. Bye-bye now.